Hello, Sanford. You are watching the Coyotes Football Network. I am Jonathan West, and welcome to the Howler. And it is a very strange week, to say the least, here in Sanford. After a very, unsettling week of practice last week, we saw what seemed to be the ego, or at least what we believe is the ego of John Scott flaring back up again, issue he had in high school when he was the guy on a very, very successful football team. It seems to have flared up again. And, with that, it looked like overconfidence got the best of him with 4 interceptions and a benching in the second half. Now, initially when this week started, I could have told you guys I didn't believe that John Scott would be benched. After what I heard happen in the closed practice, it makes sense of the news we just got word of earlier today. John Scott and Coach Wolf had a very heated argument on the field today after this team was run dry after a very, very physical practice. From what it looked like a multitude of explicitives used on both sides, and Scott walking off the field 45 minutes before practice was supposed to conclude. With that being said, a lot of questions were asked to Coach Wolf about what exactly went down. He did not give specific answers. However, he did announce, and I quote, "Because of last week's game that we saw from Scott and what we saw from Grant Fink, he will be given the starting job this week against UConn. He can look at this as a tryout and try and make the most of his opportunity." So it sounds to me like Grant Fink is the starting quarterback as long as he's able to keep playing well. He threw 4 passes last week, was money on all 4 passes, and, kept Sanford in the lead in a game where they needed to keep a lead. It's just plain and simple. I think Sanford has made the right choice here with what we've seen from Scott right now and this entire attitude change. Luckily, I did get to talk to Josh Williams, who, of course, was suspended his freshman year for 4 games following an altercation off the field. I talked to him about the situation with John Scott, and, it's simple and clean coming from him, as he stated. John's got to learn to clean himself up. Everyone thought he did that after a year of community college, but now things are looking a lot different. Old habits seem to be coming back for him, and if he doesn't get himself clean, the NFL may not even be an opportunity. So it seems the young man who looked to be having the most issues on this team his freshman year has finally kind of understood where things are going, and John Scott needs to follow that lead. But this week it looks like Grant Fink will be the starting quarterback for the Sanford College Coyotes, and that's going to be very interesting with it being rivalry week. However, let's get into some brighter news, and that is that there are some Coyotes in the award races. 3 different players are up for the Bednarik right now. Matthew Fowler, Sam Williams, and Dylan Trevor all up for that. For the Nagurski, you've got Justin Moss, currently, I believe, ranked 6th on the list. Moss, of course, having a phenomenal year. And the man we just talked about, Josh Williams, number 11 in the Blitnikoff race, not having a phenomenal year, but a career year for himself. For the Outland, you have Chris Wilson, the big man up front and center, having another very, very solid year from that center spot. They just got to keep protecting whomever may be under center. Wilson also up for the Remington. He's number 2 for that award, so there is a chance he may walk away with at least 1 award. Now this is the big one, the Lombardi. And Justin Moss is currently ranked number 1. 3 spaces down, it's Dylan Crosby. And then you got 4 more spaces down, and it's Scott Boyd. This defensive line is being as impressive as it can be, and the awards are starting to show that with how many defensive linemen are getting the credit they certainly deserve after a very, very good season. The best linebacker award, currently Dylan Trevor is placed at number 5, and Matthew Fowler placed at number 8 in those standings right now for that award. So it's good to see those two up for the best linebacker award. Remember, Otis Griffin once winning that prestigious honor. For the Thorpe, Sam Williams is up for that award as well, number 7 on that list. And shockingly, for the Ray Guy Award, Jean-Paul Valley, the punter, is up for that. He is number 5 on that list. Hasn't had a great year in way of downing punts inside the 20, but still a solid year nonetheless. And finally, best returner, right at the end of the list, is Steven Supersonic Sullivan, as he is still healing from an injury. Well, it's time to talk about the American Athletic Conference standings again, and it's a 3-team race. That's what it is right now. 3 teams currently are 4-0. Sanford, Cincinnati, and SMU. Fun fact, the only team out of those 3 that Sanford doesn't play, of course being themselves, is the Bearcats. So the Bearcats and Coyotes are fighting for the East, it looks like. And SMU's going to have to beat Sanford if they want to control the West. So it's going to be a very fun situation looking later on in the season when Sanford and SMU meet. Now in the top 25, Sanford currently ranked number 7 in the nation. It's what happens, of course, when the bigger teams and the bigger conferences get those wins they needed. Baylor jumping over Sanford from number 8 last week now to number 6. Sanford now at number 7 because of it. But I don't think the Coyotes are worried about that, or at least it doesn't seem to me like the coaching staff's too worried about that. This team is looking now to make sure they can keep that undefeated streak intact and keep that chance at a national championship alive. And I think the move at quarterback kind of proves that right now. Now it's time to talk games, and of course the biggest one on the schedule is obviously Sanford at UConn. It's going to be a fun one to watch. I am super excited for rivalry week, folks. It doesn't get any bigger as the Sanford College Coyotes are favored by Kirk Herbstreit. And you look at all of the statistics, I mean, you can't argue with what they say. Sanford is the better team on paper than the than the Huskies. The Huskies are dealing with some injuries at linebacker, which is going to hurt them a lot. So look for Sanford to utilize that. Of course, their one injury, Steven Supersonic Sullivan, out for possibly 2, maybe 3 weeks, depending on the severity of this injury. So it's a solid situation for the Coyotes right now coming into this game. They're not banged up. They don't really have their number 1 return man, but they're not hurting. There's not a lot of injuries. The only thing going on with this team is that quarterback controversy situation. The situation between John Scott and Coach Wolf and whatever is boiling under the surface. That's all that's there, and I can argue, though, that might just be a little bit bigger than any injury they could hope to not have. So, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them and an injury happens to Graham Fink, and we're sitting here thinking about what Coach Wolf's going to do with John Scott if he puts him back in as a starter. Hopefully that doesn't come to play. But right now, we do know Graham Fink is our starter, and this defense is going to have to play tough against the rival Huskies this weekend. Let's talk about those Huskies, though. You've got Josh Hayden at quarterback, the man to watch here for this Huskies offense. He's going to lead the flow of the game. He may not always be the one with the ball in his hands, but he is going to lead how the game goes. He has 6 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions, so he hasn't been throwing the ball a ton this year. But he is a guy to watch out for, especially since he does have a little bit of speed to him. Now, the deadliest man on the field on the offensive side of things, may be Chris Ford. He's got 754 rushing yards, averaging 7.1 yards per carry and 107 yards per game. If they can't tackle Ford on first contact, this situation could get out of hand fast. So keep your eyes on number 46 and watch how he plays. Now on the defensive side for UConn, with the linebacker situation at a troublesome injury rate, they've got to watch Bo Bryant. They've got to make sure he can get pressure inside. They got to make sure he can get to the quarterback possibly. He's only got 1 sack on the year, but this dude is a monster and can get through offensive lines. Now, Mike Jones is one of the linebackers who will not be playing in this weekend's ball game. He's had a solid starting season here for himself, his first year starting. And, he was on a good run until the injury took place. But that means that young true freshman Justin Watkins is taking over. And this is not where you want to be if you're UConn. Watkins is really walking into a pool full of sharks. We'll see how he does. That's going to be one to watch. And of course, you always look at who is going to be guarding the number one guy on Sanford's offense. And that will be Alex Alexander. He's got Williams this week, and it's going to be a tough test. But now it's time to talk Coyotes, and really it all begins and ends with Grant Fink. He hasn't played much. 10 of 12, 148, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. There's not much we can take away from that. Grant Fink has to impress. That's going to be one key component this week, and we'll see if he can do it. He does have a nice set of weapons at the wide receiver spot. Of course, Josh Williams being one of them, and the deadliest one at that. 26 receptions so far this season, 625 on the year, and of course 8 touchdowns. On the defensive side of things, Shea Faraday. A solid player, very good one at that, and he just has not shown what he showed last year. Now, it may be the fact that he was moved to right end from left end last year, but just not showing what we saw last year from that young pass rusher. And another man who really hasn't had the best year, but has been solid, is Pat Riley. He hasn't played that ball-hawking free safety position that they've wanted throughout his career here at Sanford, but he has played well enough to get the job done at points. That's all the time we've got for this week's edition of The Howler. We'll be back with more next week, but this weekend, folks, it's rivalry week. We will see you at UConn. Hello, Sanford. You are watching the Coyotes Football Network. I'm Jonathan West, and welcome to Rentschler Field here in Connecticut as your Sanford College Coyotes are here to face their rivals, the UConn Huskies. And it is going to be a fun one, AAC play, and the Coyotes defending their undefeated record this season. Now, if you folks did not catch the Howler earlier this week, a very, very interesting situation that transpired during a closed practice earlier this week has now really, I think, forced Coach Wolf's hand to place Grant Fink in the starting spot. So Grant Fink, the redshirt freshman, has his first game as a starter here this week, and it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. To quote Coach Wolf, it is his tryout, and he needs to do everything to impress. We'll see how impressive he can be against the rival Huskies, a team the Coyotes have had a terrible, terrible time dealing with throughout their history. And we are off here as this game is underway. And look at this, Josh Williams is getting the first return to start the game off, and he can't find much room. Does get up, though, to about the 23-24 yard line. Williams only had 2 catches last week for 35 yards. We'll see if he can have a better day with Fink now under center, as Fink hands off to Joe Baker, and that's going to be a gain of 10 right up the gut from the running back. I'm expecting to see a much more balanced offense than we've seen lately, as Baker takes off again, a gain of 2 on that one. 2nd and 8 now in the shotgun. Fink goes option. He's got room to run with it, and he slides enough for the first down. A nice first down from Fink. And the one thing he does give that Scott doesn't, that mobility. And we'll see how much they utilize that here in this game. As play action here from Fink, going downfield quickly and into the hands of Dallas Martin. He wanted Garrett Theory, but couldn't throw it far enough. He didn't get enough air under it, didn't get it. Really, what he should have done is tried to overthrow him just a bit, and he might have had a chance, but Martin, playing from his safety spot, makes the play, and it's a big turnover to start things for UConn. 1st and 10 now for the Huskies, as this Sanford defense now gets to go to work, and there goes Ford. And we talked about how deadly he could be. That's a 17-yard run to start things off. And that could be the way this game goes. A lot of Chris Ford on the ground. 1st and 10. Josh Hayden looks to throw towards the post pattern, towards the sideline. And that was nearly caught off the hands of his intended target. 2nd and 10. So after the drop, it's a handoff back to Ford on the ground. And that's going to be another solid gain. Gain of 6 to make it manageable. 3rd and 4. 3rd and 4 out of the shotgun. UConn looking to throw here is Hayden with all the time the world, just chucks it deep. And it's somehow caught by Butler. Michael Butler, 43 yards. It looked like Dustin Jordan had perfect coverage here, but somehow he misses the football. 1st and goal now after the 43-yard connection. Ford takes the handoff, and he gets drilled in the backfield. It's a loss of 3. Pat Riley coming up from his safety spot. He's showing that he could be a very nice, possibly box safety, when in the NFL if he gets the opportunity. 2nd and goal, but they seem to have jumped, so it looks like they're going to have to move back here. Just another positive here for the Coyotes coming from this UConn offense here. 2nd and goal. They're going option themselves, and Hayden ain't going to get far. Only a gain of 2. Sam Williams was all over it. He knew exactly where the quarterback wanted to go there. 3rd and 10, man in motion is the tight end. Hayden takes the snap out of the gun, looking to throw to the end zone, and that was nearly intercepted. Fowler had it in his hands. But nonetheless, it will lead to a UConn field goal attempt, and the Huskies are good. So it will be 3-0 to begin this bowl game as we take you to a studio update. Navy has ended the undefeated AAC conference play streak of SMU, 45-35. The midshipmen have been on a roll as of late. More games for you. Florida State defeats Clemson in a fun one. Nebraska over Illinois in a tight one. And Memphis over East Carolina, 28-17. Welcome back, everyone, to UConn as Sanford back on offense. Now they got to have a good drive to answer the field goal. As only a 1-yard run here from Joe Baker. They're running a lot out of the shotgun today. 2nd and goal as Tyrese Baker checks in on the option. They run it, though, with Baker, and it's no gain. It might have even been a loss of about half a yard. Well, 3rd and 10. Here's your test. Grant is Fink throws deep. That's Jackson to the 40, 30. No one's gonna catch him. He's the fastest man on the field, folks. 78-yard touchdown. Grant Fink was under pressure, just throws it open for him, and what a play. Now they're playing with a lead as the defense, as a 1-yard run there for Chris Ford. This is a perfect opportunity now for Sanford to take control of this ball game. Hayden off the 2nd and 9. That's a drop from the tight end. Fowler there to hit it loose. Great play there by the middle linebacker. 3rd and 9. Fowler, Hayden saw pressure coming, and that's a fumble. Jordan has it to the 20. 10-5, touchdown Sanford. Justin Jordan in the right place at the right time to scoop and score. A huge play there, as it looks like, though, they're going to take this to booth review. It was Gordon Sutton that jarred it loose. You can't really tell from that angle. And that's tough. It looks like the knee may have hit right before that ball came loose. This isn't going to stand. And indeed, it is reversed. Although it will be Sanford football, luckily, as Graham Fink back on offense. That is Baker on the angle route, and a nice 12-yard gain comes of it. So a good first down play there. This Coyote offense was feeling it on the last drive. A big play by Fink under pressure got them the touchdown. Can they make another big play happen as the handoff goes to Chad Collins? He's got room. Spins off of one defender, and that's down at around the 25, 24-yard line. 25-yard rush from the optometrist. He runs specifically out of the I form, and that's why they call him that. And Collins can make you pay. 1st and 10 now, out of the I once again. Fink looks to throw, and the pressure, though, got there quicker than expected. A loss of 5 on the sack by Andrew Newton, as Fink was waiting for, I believe he wanted Williams to get a little more open, but he goes down hard, making it 2nd and 15. Fink sets up the screen. Baker's got room. A nice spin. Look at that. As that is a nice 15-yard gain by Baker right around at the sticks. 3rd and inches. It's a handoff to Joseph, but they're going to lose a yard, and that'll bring up 4th and 1. Now, what do you do if you're Sanford's the question? As we go to the end of the first quarter, it's 7-3 Sanford on top with a 4th and 1 needing an answer. You're watching the Coyotes Football Network. Well, they're going to take their points as the kick is up and good, as the Coyotes are now up by a full touchdown. As we take you to an update here, number 13 Arizona has defeated Cal 20-17. Iowa doing the same to Rutgers, taking them down, but by a very tight margin, 41-38, the Hawkeyes over the Scarlet Knights. Welcome back, everyone, here to Connecticut. 1st and 10 for the Huskies as a jump already. It looked to me like it was going to be an encroachment, but that was a false start there by UConn. They moved back early. That's not how you want to start a new drive. You don't want to start it that way, especially down a full touchdown. As Ford on the screen has running room, he gets a block upfield. That's out to about the 45, 26-yard gain on that play. Well, forget the false start situation. They made it back and plenty more on just the screen. As I told you at the beginning of the game when he got the 17-yard run. And, of course, during the Howler, Ford is the X factor here in this one. 1st and 10 here now for UConn. They'll go option, but that's shut down Shea Faraday. A loss of 4 for Josh Hayden as Faraday was all over him. Not going to let him do anything with that football. 2nd and 14 now in the I form. Sanford ready to go as the handoff goes to Ford. Has some nice blocks there by the UConn offensive line. Gives Ford enough room for a 5-yard gain. Sets up 3rd and 9. 5 wide set here as Hayden takes the snap. And to the sideline, the post pattern worked out. It's a 20-yard reception for Mike Goodman. And he was left wide open. No one was there to stop that from being a made play by Goodman. 1st and 10. Hayden taking off on the option again, but he runs right into Justin Moss, who had just realized that Hayden had the football and started to turn back around. 2nd and 12. Man in motion. As Hayden takes the snap, he's looking for a screen again, but that one doesn't work. Dylan Crosby all over it. A loss of 5, and Crosby just ran that screen right along with Chris Ford. He just ran with them until that football was in his hands. 3rd and 17. This is a tough situation for the Huskies here. Hayden takes the snap. He's looking to throw. He checks it down to Ford on the run, and it works out. But it's not going to be enough for the first by any means. Only a gain of 7. UConn with another field goal attempt here as it's up and no good. It may have had the distance, but I don't think it had the accuracy. As we'll see here on the replay, and it looks like it may not have even had the power. As Sanford takes over in favorable field position, as Fink can't get rid of that one as well as he wanted to. It does come out of the hands, luckily just falls incomplete. 2nd and 10, handoff goes to Baker as it's going to be a gain of 4 there. Sanford needs to find some way to get just positive yardage on each play at this point to keep things going. 3rd and 6, handoff goes to Baker. I'm surprised they went with the handoff there. Maybe he's trying to take UConn by surprise, but it doesn't get the first. As it's quickly once again UConn football. 1st and 10 under center. Hayden, he hands off to Ford on the delayed handoff, and Ford gets enough for the first 12-yard gain. Well, it's been mainly Chris Ford's game. We haven't seen a lot from other players here. We'll see if this continues as Hayden, pressure was coming in. He checks it down to Ford on the swing, and that's going to be a 5-yard gain once again. Chris Ford is the UConn offense. 2nd and 5. Handoff right up the gut. Crosby caught him, and he's still able to fight for 4 yards. 3rd and inches coming up here. They're nearly right at the sticks. As 3rd and inches, the handoff goes to Ford, but he's buried. He was buried in the backfield. Trevor Fowler, a number of Coyotes there. As now Sanford takes over and Williams gets open on the bread and butter mesh. 30 more yards. And no. I don't know if you folks saw that, but Williams is down on the turf. He's starting to get to his feet, luckily. Hopefully he's going to be okay as a new set of downs now. Baker. And Baker gets the handoff. Gain of nothing there. He luckily got back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10. Handoff out of the eye. It's actually play action. That's theory. 1st down, and I believe there was a hand up by the mask. Indeed, there was. Give them the extra yardage. That will take them now down to the 8-yard line. 1st and goal. Fink looking to throw. He's rolling out. Gonna take off to the 5. Touchdown, Sanford. An 8-yard Grant Fink touchdown run. Well, Fink looking quite solid here now since that interception. He hasn't made any dreaded mistakes. He's made the smart plays, and he's done exactly what he's needed to do to get this team downfield. 1st and 10 now for UConn with under 2 minutes to go here in the half. Bill Frank with a 5-yard reception. First time that was taken by the Huskies. And it's really nice to see a team now not running the no huddle for the first time in a while, as nearly intercepted by Matthew Fowler. 2nd time he's had his hands on one. 3rd and 5 here. Hayden out of the shotgun. He gets brought down. That is Scott Boyd, sack number 6 on the year. Timeout taken by Sanford, and they have the ball in great field position. Tyrese Baker taking off on the option, but he won't get far. Gets a big shoulder thrown into him. 2nd and 7. Fink looking to throw, and what a placement! Right in the middle of 2 defenders to Pat Jackson. A beautifully thrown ball, a nice catch, and good job by Jackson to hang on. As 1st and 10 screen set up for Tom Joseph. He's not going to find much there. A gain of 3 on that reception. But 2nd and 7. They can still get in the end zone here. Fink to throw as the pressure came in. He luckily got rid of it, and it just fell to the turf. 3rd and 7 here for Grant Fink. He'll drop back. Fink just runs out of time. Gillette was opening up as he went down. It's 4th and 16 coming up. I think they'll just let time go, take their field goal, and go into half. Up 17 points. As Fink was just pulled down by a number of Coyotes. As Jackson Stone's kick is good. 20-3. The Sanford College Coyotes are up at halftime by 17 over the UConn Huskies. We'll see what happens in the second half, but the Coyotes are rolling here going in. We'll have more here on the Coyotes Football Network. Welcome back, everyone, to the Coyotes Football Network. It is the beginning of the second half of play, and we begin with UConn on the attack. 6-yard pass there to Bill Frank. As the Coyotes are up 20-3 here. UConn has to fight from a nice deficit. That does take away Chris Ford as intercepted Dustin Jordan. 2 years in the making. It's been 2 years since this man's intercepted a football. Dustin Jordan finally getting that pick. No interceptions last year. Finally, an interception back on the board. As the handoff now to Joe Baker following the Dustin Jordan interception, a gain of 7 there on that one. The first pick of the year for Jordan and the first pick in 2 years. As Fink connects with Taylor Moore. 17-yard reception. 1st and goal. Fink looking to the end zone. That's Garrett Theory. Touchdown, Sanford. Well, quickly the Coyotes are back in the end zone. And quickly the Coyotes are just showing UConn this is a dominant force to be reckoned with. What a game here. 1st and 10 here for UConn as Hayden looks to throw out of the gun. Just going to throw that one away as the pressure was too much for him to handle. An update on Josh Williams, though, folks. He may return to the ballgame. It is questionable if they will want to bring him back, but the injury is not very serious. So nothing to really worry about, it looks like, for the future weeks. As Chris Ford ran the ball for a 5-yard gain, it's now 3rd and 5 here. Hayden looks to throw over the middle. Can't connect with Goodman as it's off his hands. 4th and 5. Sanford back on offense as the handoff goes to Tom Joseph. He can't find much. Gain of 4 on that first run. 2nd and 6. Fink under center. He'll pitch off to Baker, but he's caught quickly. As no blocks really. There was one block by Sam Trevor, but it didn't get held up long enough. 3rd and 11 now. Shotgun formation. Fink looks to throw. Beautiful pass to Adam Gillette. A great route run by Gillette. A great throw from Fink. And Adam Gillette just collected his first catch of the ball game. 24 yards, and it's a pretty one at that. First and 10 here. They're in their bread and butter, the tight formation, and they're going to run out of it. It is a 3-yard run from Baker, as he hasn't had a great day, and they've been trying to run the football a little bit more here this week. Second and 7. They're going play action. Fink going deep downfield, and that's taken away. Robert McDaniel with the interception, the second one of the day by Grant Fink. He wanted a little too much there, trying to get Adam Gillette going straight down the field. Safeties were in perfect coverage to make that play. First and 10 now. Shotgun formation here for UConn as Hayden looks to throw. He still can't get his guys to catch the football. It's another drop, and that's been the name of the game here for UConn. Second and 10. Hayden finds Ford. He won't drop it, and he'll get a big first down, 17 yards, down to the 40-yard line. When I said earlier that Ford is this offense, no joke, Ford has literally been this entire offense for the most part. First and 10 once again for the Huskies as Hayden takes the snap. He's got time over the middle, connects with Michael Butler, and he somehow hangs on to that one. A big first down there for the Huskies. As first and 10, Hayden drops back. He's got time. Pressure was coming in, and he'll just throw it away. As that is going to be another good coverage situation by Sanford. Their secondary has done a great job this week. As Hayden finds Bill Frank, but more good coverage. That's Daniel Clemens, who nearly got there in time to make a play on the football. Third and 9. Hayden takes the snap. Looking to throw downfield and way off the mark. The closest man there was Pat Riley. So 4th and 9 leads to a punt as Sanford takes back over. And a big hit there on Joe Baker. Second and 5 following the Baker run. Fink going play action. Wide open Garrett Theory, and another Sanford Coyotes first down. I'm partially amazed at how well this team is playing. Grant Fink seems to have some type of leadership over this team when he's in the ball game. First and 10. Fink dropping back. He's rolling out. Looking to throw deep downfield. That's Taylor Moore. 29 yards, and can we talk about the placement of that football? I am in shock at the play of Grant Fink. This young man has had a phenomenal tryout, if you want to call it that. His first and 10, they go screen again, but Baker not finding much room as he's bottled up extremely quickly. Only a 2-yard gain on that. Second and 8 now. Fink looking to throw. He'll find Chad Riley, and that's going to be a gain of 8. Riley, of course, in for Sullivan, who's still nursing the injury, as that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Sanford dominant, 27-3 over UConn as we head into the last quarter of play here on the Coyotes Football Network. Welcome back, everyone, to the Coyotes Football Network. The final quarter of play about to commence here, as it is a handoff to Chad Collins in that fullback spot, and that is a big first down. First and 10. They go play action. Fink to the end zone. It's Adam Gillette. 16-yard touchdown. Look at this stat line, folks. 15 of 19. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and yes, the 2 interceptions. But this young man has been playing dominant football all day long, as another drop from the UConn receivers. Second and 10. Hayden looks to throw. He connects with Chris Ford, but he's dropped quickly. Dustin Jordan on the tackle. Third and 6. Sanford trying to bring some pressure here since he was in the 5-wide set. But Jerome Cox gets the reception, his second of the day, and a gain of 9 yards. 1st and 10. Hayden out of the shotgun. Over the middle, connects with Cox again. It is a 1st down, and this is arguably the best start to a drive that UConn has seen all day. As Jerome Cox now with not one but 2 catches on this drive and the big 21-yarder to really put them in a good spot here. 1st and 10 now in Coyotes territory. Hayden out of the shotgun connects with Bill Frank, and it's going to be enough for a gain of 8. He doesn't drop that one. 2nd and 2. UConn's got a long way to come back if they want a chance at winning this bowl game. As Hayden looks to throw, but the pressure forces him to throw it away. More good pressure coming in from this Sanford defense. 3rd and 2, but it looked like another false start. And indeed it is, as UConn moving back once again. 3rd and manageable becomes now 3rd and close to long at 3rd and 7. Hayden takes the snap, going deep, and how? Jerome Cox 38 yards into the end zone. Once again, it's just a good football that gets away from the secondary. It looked like Pat Riley was in coverage to make the play, but a better throw allows Jerome Cox to make the play. What a ball, as Sanford, though, takes over, and I'm sure they're looking to do some more damage as Collins with a good run there. 1st and 10, they go option again. Grant Fink with another nice spin. 6-yard run. Fink likes using that spin move to his advantage. That is for certain. 2nd and 4, Fink connects with Garrett Theory. I'm sorry about that. As a big 1st down there once again for this Coyotes offense. They go option here, but Fink not able to do anything. He's wrapped up far too quickly. He will get back to the line of scrimmage, luckily, as it brings up 2nd and 10. Out of the gun, Fink towards the sideline. That is a catch for Taylor Moore. Another 1st down here. And Josh Williams has returned to the ball game, folks, as Joe Baker gets the handoff, and he's got room to the 20, 15 down to the 13. 30-yard run. He hadn't done much today, folks. To say he had done anything would be a lie. But what a run there. 30 yards on one run for Joe Baker. Is Grant Fink throwing? That's Williams. Touchdown. Sanford back on top, and Williams gets touchdown number 9 on the season. Touchdown number 4 on the day thrown by Fink, number 9 on the season for Josh Williams. Absolutely amazing as we take you to another update. Cincinnati on top of Tulsa. That game, though, is just getting underway. Cincinnati trying to keep their AAC undefeated record still alive. Welcome back to UConn, folks. 31-point deficit here for the Huskies to try and come back from, as Sam Williams was on coverage. I'm guessing indeed that does mean the backups are in. As 1st and 10, good coverage by Gordon Sutton. He nearly had a pick 6 in his hands. 2nd and 10 now after the near pick 6. Handoff goes to Chris Ford, and he is brought down, a gain of 4. As that was, I'm not exactly sure who was on the tackle there. I didn't get a good look at the number. 3rd and 6, Hayden just throwing it away. Pressure coming in from the 2nd string. This is wonderful. And now it's 4th and 6. Hayden looks to throw. He's going downfield. That's Porter into the end zone. Antoine Porter, 54 yards into the end zone. On 4th and 6. He got behind Tyrone Justice, and at that point, no one was going to catch him. Well, it's a much-needed onside kick here for UConn, but Taylor Moore on top of it. And that, folks, well, we're just one first down away from seeing Sanford as your victors as Tom Joseph gets the handoff by John Scott, who is now in the ball game. And the interesting thing here is I wonder if they'll even allow Scott to throw the football as the handoff goes to Joseph again. 3rd and 1 coming up. Gain of 6 on that run. 3rd and 1 out of the shotgun. They'll go option, and Scott gets the first down. John Scott has sealed this ball game. Well, that's the last person I thought was going to end this game, but nonetheless, your Sanford College Coyotes dominate rival UConn. What a performance by Grant Fink. Yes, 2 interceptions on the day on 2 balls he probably shouldn't have thrown. But can we talk about some of the placement of his throws that weren't even touchdowns? The Taylor Moore 29-yard reception. The Patrick Jackson catch while Williams was out of the ball game. Phenomenal play by Grant Fink this week. And I think he's won himself at least one more week as the starting quarterback. That is for certain. He is your player of the game. 5 total touchdowns. Of course, 1 on the ground for him as well. What a showing. Sanford wins against UConn 41-17. And John Scott, you may have just seen your starting job go by the wayside because of an overinflated ego. I mean, to know that Grant Fink was on the bench having this potential in him, absolutely amazing. But the Sanford College Coyotes pick up another win here in AAC play, and they look to keep going next week as they are not stopping yet. More AAC play for the Coyotes as they now have to continue to keep the streak alive. They're still in the running, folks. They are still possible for a national title game. And as long as Grant Fink's playing like that, and this team continues to play national championship caliber football, this is a team that might just make it. You've been watching the Coyotes Football Network. I've been Jonathan West, and we will see you next week.